There's assortment of Rusty Rabbit Easter eggs. Retailers still expect the queue to be on Saturday morning, when some shops will be open for business. Last-minute sales and markdowns have already started to appear. Some of the larger varieties are still hanging on to their price tags.
Of course, the Easter eggs come in all shapes and sizes, but one of the most extravagant selections we've been able to find is this one, which comes in a velvet box.
However, the more popular lines are rounded out at $2 marks. Surprisingly, similar Easter eggs are not selling as fast as the gift wrapper ones. Still, Easter eggs with bunnies, teddy bears and other soft toys are favourite with the mums. But after all, it's the children who have the final say.
It seems fitting that the Central Coast trademark, the pelican, was part of Humona's Easter celebrations. The NBN helicopter flew Percy the pelican from Pelican Island down to a waiting crowd of children, their parents and other shoppers. The noisiest member of the bonnet parade was the town crier, drafted in from Old Sydney town especially for the occasion. Many children from primary schools, as well as many shopkeepers in the area, participated in the parade, and prizes were given for the best bonnets. This bustling, fun-filled celebration was organised by the Humona Business Group in the hope of escaping the commercial side of Easter and creating some real festive spirit. The festivities will continue on Saturday with the band, the return of Percy, and a puppet show.
This weekend, the Australian Sharpie class is holding its New South Wales Championship titles on Lake Budgewoi. Competitors from Victoria, the ACT and South Australia are taking part in the four-day event, which got off to a dramatic start today. In the first heat, 6 boats overturned because of heavy seas. The 15 to 20 knot southerly wind provided good spectator sport in this, the first of 5 heats. None of the local boats managed to get among the place getters today. Honours went to P. Durham of Sydney, closely followed by another Sydney skipper, T. Love. Broom throwing is strictly for the girls, and judging by today's impressive performance, it must be quite a pastime at Stratford. It was Del Langtry with her flair for throwing brooms that put her way ahead of the other girls and even further away from the men. But then it was their turn using gumboots, and they have a very good reason for that.
Because a lot of dairy farmers and agricultural people here, gumboots are part of our working makeup.
A much better object to throw?
Yes, well, we're more used to that because we practice on our wives.
If that's the case, one must feel sorry for Mrs. Warren Burley, whose husband can fling a gumboot an easy 39 metres. The other husbands may have a bit of practice at home to catch up on.
Thank you, John. Good morning. Well, the last 3 days certainly haven't been good for surfing conditions, and I'm afraid today doesn't look to be much better. At the moment we have plenty of waves, a swell from the east, almost turning around to the east-northeast. Waves around 1.2 to 1.5 metres at the city beaches. The wind blowing onshore from the northeast at the moment, and conditions quite choppy, bumpy and fairly messy. I'm afraid the sandbanks at all of our city beaches are looking quite terrible after the swell of the last couple of weeks. Not looking too good at all for the board riders. If you're thinking about going for a swim this morning, take care. There are bad sweeps to the north and strong rips at all of our city beaches. You should only be swimming between flagged areas. For the board riders, it'll only be those northern protected corners where you can find a bit of protection from these northeasterly winds, like here at Newcastle Beach. Unfortunately, the flags will be up there and board riding a little bit restricted. But there are other places to travel to if you'd like to have a look around. And don't forget, for those swimmers, flagged areas only. As far as the forecast is concerned today, there has been a motorist warning put out this morning, and it's been issued for hazardous driving conditions due to expected morning fog patches for the inland. We're expecting periods of rain and scattered thunderstorms developing with local heavy falls. And there has been a warning also issued for graziers for the central tablelands. The winds from the northeast to northwest at 30 to 50 kilometres per hour, seas slight to moderate on a low swell. Newcastle expecting a top today of only 22 degrees, up in the valley at Scone just 1 degree warmer at 23. And the outlook for Tuesday is for cooler southwest to southerly winds and a few showers. Low tide this morning, 7:30 at 0.6 of a metre. High tide will be at 28 minutes past 1 this afternoon, 1.2 metres, and the following low tide at 4 minutes to 7 this evening at 0.7 of a metre. Well, that's our look at the surf and weather this morning. Not a lot happening around the beaches for the board riders. Northern protected corners away from the northeasterly winds. Waves around 1.2 to 1.5 metres. We're getting a little bit of sunshine at the moment. There's not too many clouds around, but we're expecting more rain on the way and only a top of 22 degrees. A cooler southwest to southerly change on the way as well, so it looks like being back to work tomorrow with rain. That's it from me. It's back to John.
The amendments to the Act come after recommendations were made to the state government by a special task force into domestic violence. The Women's Coordination Unit, police, barristers and interested community workers all contributed. Its findings were startling.
They completed a study in 1981 and found that 60% of families in the state had domestic violence or suffered from domestic violence.
The new law applies to husbands and wives and de facto relationships. There are 3 major changes. From the 18th of this month, police will be able to get a telephone warrant to enter your home if they've been refused entry and suspect that an assault has or is taking place. The officer radios back to the police station, where a call is made to a magistrate in Sydney on 24-hour call. The warrant can then be authorised and police can legally gain entry. The second change involves the victim, who is now compelled to give evidence to the police. In the past, many wives or husbands had been reticent to speak against their spouse. Police say this has often resulted in only a temporary solution to the problem. Once the aggressor is arrested, special bail conditions apply.
Now, the bail condition, you are not to go back to your house before tomorrow morning, and you are not to molest your wife.
Where am I supposed to go?
You've got relatives, haven't you? Now off you go.
The officer in charge can also order the attacker not to drink alcohol or enter licensed premises if he thinks this has contributed to the problem. Today at Newcastle Police Station, officers were being briefed on their new powers and their consequences. They're quietly confident the new measures can reduce the incidence of domestic violence.
Open up, Mr. Ridey. We've got the warrant now.
The
gathering last night saw the kick-off of the 1983 State Bank Rugby League Encouragement Award. Each week, a player from the match of the day will be given an encouraging $50 to help inspire young players. It's only the second year the State Bank has been involved in Newcastle Rugby League, but already the award has a certain prestige attached to it. But why has the State Bank become involved in the local comp? Advertising manager of the bank, Mr. Brian Bay.
One of the things that we look for is encouragement, recognition of potential, of future potential, and this is the main reason why we got involved with Newcastle Rugby League. It's a growth area for the professionals in Sydney. It's got a very strong following. Apart from that, it recognises potential on the part of young players who normally wouldn't get the Player of the Match award, or who normally wouldn't get the mention by the sporting journalist as the leading man in the match.
Why Newcastle? Why not Wollongong or further out west?
Well, Newcastle's always had a very special...
The twin-cabin Ford trailer was funded by the Newcastle City Council, the SES Auxiliary and 3 local businesses. The trailer was built and fitted out by SES volunteers. The cabin is large enough to carry 6 rescuers, and the trailer contains a range of rescue and medical equipment, as well as lights and its own generator. The recently retired president of the SES Auxiliary, Mr. Graham Silver, today passed the keys to the Lord Mayor of Newcastle, Alderman Joy Cummings, who in turn passed them on to his deputy, Alderman Don Geddes, who is also Newcastle's SES controller. Alderman Geddes says the new vehicle is important to the city, even though local police and ambulance men have their own rescue trucks.
It enables volunteers to be trained on rescue in the city, and it allows them to be available to assist the police, ambulance and fire brigade in rescue should it be called out. Unfortunately, there is not enough people being trained in rescue operations, and this is the means by which we can do it.
Does the vehicle differ in any way from the police and ambulance rescue vehicles?
Well, basically the signs are different and the equipment's a little bit different. It's equipment that can be used by volunteers quite capably, and it's not the sophisticated equipment that the police would use on their major road rescues. I must point out though that certain state emergency service areas in New South Wales do carry out work that would normally be done by police, particularly in Newcastle.
Darby Ross from the Cohiba Bowling Club continued his brilliant form to win the East Cessnock Invitation Singles. Ross defeated Trevor Wagner from Queensland 31-19 to reassert him as one of Australia's best singles players. He got the early break, but Wagner never gave in and sent down some outstanding bowls to peg Ross back in the middle stages. But it's very seldom that the champ from Cohiba lets a handy lead slip away, and with precision drawing and accurate driving, he eventually ran out a worthy winner. At the NJC Bowling Club, Dorothy Roach from the Rosehill Club in Sydney successfully defended her round-robin title 5 games plus 44. This afternoon, which was the final round, she outclassed Rosemary O'Brien to take out the title. Faye Craig, playing on her home greens, grabbed second place after bowling consistently all week, and Eve Wilshire was placed third. The standard of the bowling by the 8 ladies proved beyond doubt that the field that was assembled at the NJC this week could not be surpassed anywhere in Australia. But in the end, the accolades go to Dorothy Roach, who won her 3rd title in 4 years, and she certainly was a popular winner.